All right, this is for the one who has an ancestor who is very, very tapped into the spiritual world. Now, definitely if you know that or you know who that is what the message is probably about. If you don't, but you feel called to this message, there are two parties here. There's the party people, just kidding, of party people. Golly. There's a group of people who have an ancestor who is very tapped into the spiritual, and they are speaking now. Or there's a group of people where you are the one that is the first one in your line to be super tapped in this specific way, and you are the creator of this legacy. So take it as you will. Either way, there should be a message in here for you. So, since it does feel like an ancestor message, we are going to start with angels and ancestors, spirit guides, and ancestors of love, light, and truth in alignment with our highest potential and purpose in this lifetime. Please give us what is for our highest good at this time. Thank you. Let's see, shall we? Oh, I have a song by Aurora in my head. It's the part that says, I had a dream I was 7, which is really interesting. Maybe this is an ancestor you knew at 7, or maybe someone came to you at 7. Maybe they have stepped into your life when you were 7. Interesting. Maybe in dreams as well. Maybe you used to have dreams as a child, and this is actually an ancestor that used to come through. Sky Father. Trust in the unknown. And I see an eagle. Sky Father. Interesting. This almost reminds me of like Native American. Like maybe you are a Native American. Your ancestors are Native American. It also slightly reminds me of Zeus. So we also have, Greece and such here with this card specifically. We have the eagle. This is, maybe a masculine energy coming through here. A masculine energy that knew how to trust spirit and knew that everything would happen for a reason. I feel like they had a lot more trust in the divine than we tend to have now. All right, this is your energy. You are learning how to, see a bigger picture because of your faith. Winter, take care of your needs. Interesting. So we have a wolf here. Winter, take care of your needs. I'm seeing fur. I'm still feeling like very Native American vibes from this. I mean, this deck just gives a lot of Native American vibes. I mean, look at this. Like, this reminds you of like a drum, like very, very much so. But I mean, very specifically, we have eagle, we have wolf, we have winter. I'm thinking of wearing like furs, trying to stay warm. Realizing that we have preparations that need made. We have a need for nourishment. And I think this ancestor would have trusted a lot to the point, like, if there was, a year where it was hard to find a certain crop or something, like they knew they would be taken care of, and they knew there was a reason. Interesting. This is an interesting reading for me. I would say I don't get a lot of these kinds. Okay, and then warrior, be fearless and stand strong. Be fearless and stand strong. And as you see, this looks, this looks like fur. Right, wearing fur seems important, and being connected to forces we can't necessarily see, but we can see in nature. Spirit wanted to remind me, but we can see it in nature. So definitely being more connected to nature was how this ancestor or you need to connect. And definitely if an ancestor is coming through and giving you this message, it is probably alluding to the fact that you have this lineage. You might also need to learn to trust by tapping into the divine within nature. Okay, I'm gonna get one more Angels and Ancestors card. And definitely you can see the divine in nature, and that is being highlighted here for sure. And then spring, we have winter and spring. See your seeds grow. That's exactly what I'm saying. This ancestor was part of this community who would have been cyclical and very tapped into nature. Nature is cyclical, and maybe seeing and trusting the divine wisdom that could be found throughout the seasons shifting, right? In the spring, our seeds would grow and we would gather that and prepare for winter. We would, find the animals, get the skins, make sure we're prepared, make sure we have things that are warm so that when the cold sets in, when the snow comes, when the chill sets, we can take care of that because of the abundance that was given to us in the spring. There's a lot of wisdom to be gained from that bigger picture worldview that is cyclical and natural. All right, we're going to use the Beyond Lemuria deck here. Animals are really, really important. Animals and plants, like the harvest, as well as the animals themselves, the animal kingdom itself, that level, that essence of nature, of, the consciousness that moves through cycles, the level of consciousness that is in the, programmed animalistic community, right? The wolves, the eagles, the rabbits, they all know what to do. They all know what to do when the seasons change. I think you're being called to delve deeper into that faith and that trust, because they have a kind of trust and a kind of faith in their own nature that goes beyond thought. The violet flame. Whoa. The violet flame is all about transformation, really intense transformation. And transformation is something that happens when the seasons change. And maybe you're going through a season change right now and you're being called to make preparations. Earth, nurture nature. Nurture the actual earth, take care of your garden, but also literally yourself, because you are a part of nature. I think this is a remembrance that we are nature. It's not just the animals, it's not just the plants, it's not just our ancestors. We are nature as well, and perhaps this perspective shift is happening. Surrender. Surrender, yeah. Interesting. Surrender to the seasons. Surrender to the cycle. When nature gives you a message, gives you meaning, gives you an interaction, gives you a connection, gives you a resource, we surrender to it. We use it appropriately. We are given things in due time, and we are called to use them appropriately. Then the root chakra, ground and center, a lot about grounding here. When we can remain present in the moment, that is our nature. You know how a wolf will listen and has good vision. An owl, I meant eagle, an owl. An owl has good vision, a hawk has good vision. Anyway, an eagle can fly and soar so high that they can see what is, beyond. And then a bunny is quick, right? They can run away. They are fast. They can be used for food as well, but nature provides, I think, is one of the biggest things that your ancestor would like to tell you. You are not separate from nature, and the earth is your home. You are a part of nature, and there is a reason that your body is cyclical, that you are cyclical, that you go through periods of transformation. You go through periods of transformation because you are nature. You are nature. Wow. We're gonna get some Work Your Light cards. Take some deep breaths. Maybe go for a walk after this and see, do you see any animals around you? What is speaking to you through nature? What is the wisdom that can be found in nature? What are the trees saying, right? I think your ancestor was so connected to spirit because they were so connected to the earth. They were so connected to nature, to the cycles. They could see an animal and they could understand what that message was, right? They could see a plant growing or a plant being harmed. They could see a tree dying or growing strong, and they could receive the wisdom that was shown to them from that. And I think we lose touch with that, and you're being called to really transform and journey back into the cycles of nature. Tune in to nature. It's the biggest message. And I think a lot of our ancestors, no matter what, Native American or otherwise, a lot of our ancestors, Polynesian, a lot of our ancestors, I would say all of them, were deeper connected to the earth and the cycles of nature because they had to be. We didn't have a house that was heated, right? We had to take care of ourselves in that way. We had to collect firewood. We had to get furs from animals to stay warm. We had to make preparations. We had to collect crops and plant new ones at the right time so they could grow. It's not just an individual community that did this. We used to be more connected to nature, and we do absolutely need to tap back into that wisdom because nature has more wisdom for us than any new thought that has been said online. I can guarantee that. Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? Star Mother. Coming out with nature. Fun fact. The universe, space, stars, that's all a part of nature. It's all a part of nature. Now we are tapping into the earth, but think of it like this. If you have a star mother, she's kind of like the eagle being able to look down. We have the star mother and the sky father here. You see. Perhaps there's two ancestors connected here. Or perhaps it's just the entirety of the relationship of the cycles of life being highlighted. Your star mother can look down on the earth and see everything that's happening, And how can you mother yourself? Well, tapping into that cyclical nature, especially if you are, a female. We are very, very cyclical. We're all cyclical beings, but with things like our cycles and all of that, it's really important that we, especially during different phases of our life, even eat differently, just really tapping into the cyclical nature is really important here. Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. And some of these subtle realms, are earth realms. If you think about the elementals, I'm being drawn to the elementals. I just had some Celtic ideas come into my mind. So maybe your ancestor is Celtic in some way. I'm just thinking of the Fae, the elementals, the ones who are guardians of plants, the guardians of animals. These are also these divine spiritual beings, right? Helpers in the subtle realms. We have helpers in the subtle realms that allow us to grow crops healthily, that allow, sacred spaces where transformation is able to take place in these sacred spaces. Maybe your ancestor wants you to travel to a specific place in nature and allow it to transform you. Surrender to the energy that is in that space. Wow. The subtle realms. I mean, they're all around us. Nature seems so visible. It seems so... I think it's why we can take it for granted, is it's so physical. It's so there. It's almost just like, drinking a cup of coffee in the morning. It becomes so mundane. We see it all the time. Interesting. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light. A divine plan coming through. Cycles are a part of that divine plan. The divine plan within nature, guys. I lost my train of thought. Why? Because I'm channeling information. That happens. I'm sorry, guys. But if there is something that is needed for you, it will come out. Align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change? I think we're not living in cycles. Oh, I was talking about things becoming more mundane. The natural world, animals, plants, we get so used to it. We grow so accustomed to it that it's just like drinking in a cup of coffee in the morning. It's just like, buying a pack of cigarettes and throwing out the trash from it when you're done. Like, it's so... we just stop caring. We stop caring, but there's actually so much more wisdom than we can even see in one moment, right? We have to really absorb it. We have to allow ourselves to tap back into the simple, small moments. What's not aligned in our life? Dance with life. Do something to change your energy. Yeah, see, it's been so mundane. We have taken nature for granted for so long that we're so disconnected from it. We have like these mental health issues. We are literally fractured from ourselves and from our communities. Well, we're being called to journey back. Journey back. That made me a little emotional for some reason. I'm sorry. We are being called to journey back to nature, to the information always around us in the subtle realms. We are being called to reparent ourselves in a way to bring back the spontaneity, the joy, in the natural order of everything. When we do that, we call back the importance of natural cycles, and this is going to be important for future generations. We have been fragmented. It is time for us to reintegrate with Earth. I think a lot of us struggle with this idea. It's not even a conscious idea. It's not even a conscious belief, but we struggle with this sense that there is nature and then there is humanity. We have a separation and a dissociation from the natural order of all things, but we are nature. We are here right alongside the earth. I heard we're stewards of this earth, which I think is a Christian thought. Perhaps some of that's interesting too. You had some ancestors who were Christian, but not what we would consider Christian these days. Maybe more mysticism involved. Maybe a lot more symbolic beliefs there. Take that as you will, that's only for some. We're gonna get some prism cards real quick, and then we're gonna use some die here. I only am using die that have numbers on them for this reading because I just feel like after all of this kind of information, just some clarification would be good. We have frustration. Again, I think there's frustration that happens for us because of this fragmentation where, yeah, and sadness and depression and things like that. This happens, right? This happens because we are disconnected from the natural cycles. So when something, you know, a cycle happens that is meant to lower our energy, but we don't allow it to transform us or surrender to it. Instead, we fight against it, right? We fight against the mystery instead of trusting and allowing. That can create this disharmony inside us. This can create frustration, sadness, depression, isolation. It can create that sense of abandonment from spirit. But spirit doesn't abandon you. You just stop listening to the subtle calls. And there's so many. The mystery of nature still exists even in the practical and mundane, because we think to ourselves, oh, it's so obvious. We know the bear hibernates. We know the squirrels play on the trees. We know seeds fall. You know, we know dandelion seeds go everywhere. We know that, you know, tree branches fall during storms. We don't care anymore. But there's a mystery to that now, isn't there? Because we think we know, we think we understand, but do you understand how a tree works? Do you understand how a tree heals itself when a lightning strikes? Do you understand why squirrels eat acorns? Do you understand the relationship between a bear and its child? Do you really? We can assume. But this illumination of our sense of self, I'm hearing, creativity here feels like innovation for me. And maybe we don't realize that the best innovation comes from the mystery of the cycles of nature. It doesn't come from avoiding it or dissociating from it or identifying ourselves as separate from it. It comes from noticing what we are in that mystery. And then we have death on the bottom. Death may be real death, right? An ancestor who has passed on, who is trying to let you know death is also a part of that cycle. It's a part of the cycle. We are never outside of the cycles of nature, right? Because when we die, that's natural. When we're born, that's a part of the cycles of nature. When we go through spring, summer, fall, winter, that's a part of the cycles of nature. When we get sick and then we heal, when our body transforms itself, when we basically regenerate ourselves every 7 years, this is all a part of the cycles of nature. And that's for animals and that's for plants. It's for everything. We all are always a part of the cycle of nature. And we need to tap back into that severely. I want one more Angels and Ancestors card. And then I would like to roll some die here and get some numbers for confirmation. Okay, one more Angels and Ancestors, please. I got 2. Really? I got 2. That's okay. We have Sage, be devoted and committed. And the peacock feather, I was going to mention it earlier, actually. Peacocks are huge for me right now, too. Fascinating. Also, the color orange. So, there you go. And then Lord, take charge with authority. Again, some Celtic kind of vibes here. Wow. Be devoted and committed. Take charge with authority. Your ancestor also, again, I'm definitely feeling a masculine presence here. Even with Star Mother here, I do believe that is more identifying you needing to mother yourself. I think this is definitely a masculine presence here who was devoted and committed to their tribe or their group. Lord, take charge with authority. They were probably pretty high up in that hierarchical structure, right? So maybe this was a shaman, maybe it was a medical man, whatever it is, for whatever culture that you feel really drawn to, that you know you have ancestry in, it is probably that. Somebody who was a sage, who was a lord, right? Who was a father, or maybe a father to the entire community. This is somebody who was very devoted and connected to nature, to the natural cycles, and to understanding when things needed shifted, right? So it could definitely be a shaman, but I'm feeling even more so probably a medicine man type, which those overlap. In a lot of cultures, they're the same. Right, love that. But I'm mostly feeling in connection in a grounded way with the natural cycles of earth and animals and plant medicines, things like that. Also, just this devotion and dedication to not just learning the wisdom, but also standing in that and allowing transformation to be given to many a people. So I think we need to learn to dance with that and harmonize a little more with nature. So we'll do one at a time, okay? Do one at a time here. We got a 1. This could be, again, for some of you, the first in a line, right? Maybe you had ancestors who weren't as, they societally had an understanding of this, but maybe you are the first one in your lineage this far to bring it to like maybe the modern world or whatever. Or it could be an initiation process into reconnecting to the cycles, okay? Let's see. What's this one? Whoop! 3. So this is creativity. Interesting. And 10. So a completion and an initiation all in one. Maybe this is the end of your dissociation from nature and you're about to tap back into it. And you're going to see the creative power. So 3 is creation itself as well. It's also just a number that is very, what am I trying to say? Tapped into the flow is what I'm hearing, which is very cyclical, right? A lot of things happen in 3s. 3 is a very structurally sound shape. When you have 2 things that are connected together, it adds a deep sense of trust that becomes a third thing, right? So I'm thinking of that. Tapping back in with nature, there's us and nature, the initiation, ending of this old sense of self, initiation into interacting with nature. Us, nature are one and the same. That's 3 things if we want to look at it that way. But definitely the potential of creation here is being identified. So basically, this is a half-hour long message to tell you to reconnect with nature. That's it. That's it. You didn't even have to be here this whole time. You have a masculine ancestor telling you, hey, tap back into nature. And I'm going to be honest with you, isn't that every single spiritual reading? This message is from your ancestors because it bridges time. It isn't dependent on time. It isn't dependent on what's happening. What it's dependent on is nature and the natural cycles, and we are infinitely connected to that. Every single spiritual thing, every spiritual path, every spiritual idea, every spiritual message, it's about you following the cycle. Here's why you feel so low, part of the cycle. Here's why you have so much energy right now, part of the cycle. Here's why you're facing loss, part of the cycle. Here's why you feel like you're awakening to something, part of the cycle. This message is universal, and your ancestors are walking right by your side. Good luck. Love you guys. Bye.